Well, there's Charlotte. I wonder where Wilbur is. Well, this is the longest town walk on the Appalachian Trail, Duncannon, Pennsylvania. Here's a little sign that tells me that the trail is turning right. It's not that usual to have walks through town like this. Certainly not this long. So the trail turns here. And I'm told that the bridge walk leaving out of town is the longest bridge walk on the Appalachian Trail. And after that, there's like one town over the next 100 miles. Share the road with a car. Says here the trail turns left, which means we're following it over here. You can see on the street sign there's another trail marking. Well, I'm not going to film the entire way over the bridge, but this gives you an idea what a town walk might look like. Well, I'm on the first half of this bridge walk. I'm going to cross here and then cross that bridge, and then the Appalachian Trail goes up there and up that ridge. There's a blue marked trail. There's a that goes up this way and skips some of that trail. It's a lot steeper, but about a mile shorter. And I think I'm going to take it, and the main reason is that ridge right there, according to the hiking app. That ridge right there is Poison Ivy Palooza, as one person put it. So I'm going to skip it and take the steeper route. (7:35 a.m.) I bet you never thought that the Appalachian Trail looks like this. That's the Susquehanna River. And there's the sunrise. And we're about halfway across the bridge. All right, this is the moment of truth. The Susquehanna Trail goes off this way and joins up with the AT again in a mile after a steep climb. The Appalachian Trail continues forward. You can see the white blaze there on the far tree and this blue blaze up here. And this is what gives rise to the phrase blue blazing. Blue blazing is when you take alternate routes to skip over some of the white blazed miles. There's another phrase called yellow blazing. That's when you take a car ride and skip over some of the miles. And there's another term called pink blazing, which is when you find a cute girl and you decide to match pace with her in order to get some contact. So I have to decide which way I'm going to go. It's less steep going this way, but about twice as long. And this one is very steep at the end, but doesn't have all the poison ivy. So I think I'm going to go that way and become a blue blazer. And some people, purists, feel that blue blazing is not really hiking the trail, to which other people respond, hike your own hike. That's a big saying on the AT, or any hiking. Hike your own hike. So I'm going to hike my own hike, which is to avoid the poison ivy. This must be Charlotte's cousin. And that's another white-tailed deer over there. Oh, there he goes. I think I caught a little bit of him. That's 20 yards. Alrighty. And here I am rejoining the AT. Taking a 1 mile trail and skipping 2 miles of the Appalachian Trail, making me a blue blazer, rebel, iconoclast, rule breaker, all that in some people's eyes. Maybe this is a good opportunity to talk about rules. I love how Jesus said, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. In other words, a good and proper rule is one that serves people. And every rule carries a certain weight that makes the journey more difficult. And so it needs to justify itself. And I remember one time being really frustrated. I mean, I like rules like traffic rules that make lives people safer and help us get along better and all that. And I used to be a police officer. I didn't have a problem enforcing rules. I remember when I was at Wheaton College and I had transferred in, and at my previous school, Carnegie Mellon, you didn't have to take English composition if you had a certain score on your verbal SATs. And so I met that requirement. And so I was able to take a different English class. I took creative writing, which was much more enjoyable than English comp. And fast forward, I get to Wheaton, and it's getting close to time to graduate, and they inform me that I have not fulfilled my English comp requirement. And I'm like, well, hold on, I didn't need to at my previous school. I, exempted out of it, and I took an alternative course, creative writing, and they said, sorry, that won't be an adequate substitution. You're gonna have to take English comp. And I'm like, hold on a second. My philosophy professor submitted one of my papers to your department, and you found it sufficient that I could be an English tutor, a writing tutor. I have been a tutor in your lab for 2 years, teaching people how to write papers. And now, because of this rule, you want me to take a 2-credit English comp course. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, that seems really inflexible for a small liberal arts college. And their answer was, too bad, so sad. And that was really frustrating. In fact, I was so frustrated with it that I went to the local community college there and I took their English comp course over the summer because I wasn't going to give Wheaton my money for that class. But to me, that's an example of where a rule not only serves no purpose, but is actually contrary to your purpose. And it's obvious that the spirit of the rule is being broken. When I'm someone that you consider good enough to be an English tutor, a writing tutor, you're still going to make me take the basic class. For those of us who are teachers and pastors and leaders and parents and whatever else, yeah, I get it. We need to teach rules. Rules are important. But at the same time, let's make sure we know what the rules are for and that they're there to honor people and make life better, not harder. There needs to be a reason to our rules, and that reason has to be love. I think that's what Jesus was getting at when he said the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. Anyway, I'm glad to have skipped the poison ivy section, and the blue blaze wasn't as steep as people seem to say it was, so I feel relatively strong for the day ahead. Well, power line cut-throughs are not normally a feature of a landscape, but it does give us a view, not just of the power line tower. Again, the Susquehanna River came from back there. I'm headed this way. So one of the things I haven't really shown you yet is some of the interesting people you meet on the trail. I've met Bimble, the guy from Glasgow, Scotland, who's ex-military intelligence, retired, hiking the trail. Another guy from the UK, Big Dipper, and his girlfriend Saucy came out to join him for 2 weeks. They might be a little bit behind me. Viking, who's one of his sons is an astrophysicist. He's in his 60s and he's hiking the entire trail. He might be just a wee bit ahead of me right now. Last night at the hostel, there were 8 younger people, four of them who were hiking together. Immediately I looked at them and said, they said they're flip-flopping, so they started from Harper's Ferry as well, just a little bit before me. And so they're going to hike up to Katahdin and then come back to Harper's Ferry and then hike south. And I said, let me guess, you all just graduated from college and this is the first thing you wanted to do? And they were like, yep. In fact, one of them, it was 4 days after graduation and she was on the trail. Another group of 3, so they were, some of them were queer folk, trans, or maybe non-binary, which was interesting and actually encouraging, because I've read some trail blogs from people who are trans who had some real hard difficulties on the trail, not usually from hikers but from other folks. And in any case, it's a different experience for them doing the trail. So anyway, there's a lot of interesting people on the trail, and maybe I will catch up with Viking again and I can introduce you all to him. Looks like today might be my day of random thoughts, but one other thing is that I've become a surprisingly become a morning person on the trail. I pretty much get up at first light, usually around 5:30, if not a little bit before. And even if I'm taking a really slow, lazy time and I lay in bed for another half hour, I'm usually up, hitting my head on trees. Now, usually on the trail by 7:30. This morning I was taking my time, and the group of college graduates was just getting up when I was leaving, which is nice, makes it easier for me to use the bathroom. Then again, I also go to bed around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and some of them are still out on the town at that point. So in other words, I guess I'm becoming an old man. But that's not news. Okay, that's all I have for that random thought. Another view of the Susquehanna River Valley from the ledge of a, stealth camp, where someone has already gathered all the wood you would need. But time to move on. All right, I will sign in. This is some amazing trail magic. I'm gonna have some chorizo burrito in a minute and a beer, and there's snacks over here, and there's not a lot of water going that way, and so I filled up here too as well. This is amazing. Thanks so much.
Yep. What part of Mass are you?
Here's another little mini overlook. Wow, that was a great bit of trail magic headed up by Senor and the rest of that crew. Even Icarus, the guy who gave me a ride to the grocery store yesterday, showed up with his dog Dagger. And yeah, chorizo and egg burrito. Nice Coors beer, Coors Banquet. That really hit the spot. Trail magic is magic. All right, Table Rock view. Let's see what it is. All right, I'm not climbing out there with a camera in my hand. There is Table Rock view. This is my funky hat attachment that is for the sun, but it works great when the bugs are really bothering me, which they are right now. So I made it to camp, did another 17-mile day, and I am going to I took a nap. I'm going to make some oatmeal for dinner, don't judge, and then I'm going to go to bed for real, probably by 8 o'clock tonight.